Good evening. We have another beautiful video for you today, and it's entitled Biblical Arts Revealed 2016-2043. Biblical Arts Revealed. That's when we brought these arts available to you in 2016. And these arts exist, some of the arts, and yes, these arts exist in a lot of the ancient writing, but there's nobody here to tell you about that area of it other than thought revealing it to me, because they have the procession of the equinox, they have the history of Egypt, partly how they use it, they have the numbering of the star and stuff like that. But those individuals who really have this knowledge are not going to give it to you. They're not going to give it to you because they don't put it even in the Masonic orders and some of the other areas for the common people's fraternities, the Apple, the Mega Sci-Fi and all the other ones, and even Eastern Star. They don't put them in the organization because this is knowledge for rulers to rule nations with. And they're not going to tell you no more than Jesus is a Horus. They ain't going to go and get, they'll tell you what certain words mean in the Bible as well, but they're not going to go too deep in giving you nothing to deliver yourself. And this information is to give you knowledge that you could be delivered from the status quo. You could be delivered from conditions of life. And this is very important. And it's important for you to know that. I'd like to give a shout out to Miss Randolph. I haven't heard from her for a little while, but yet wherever she is, I hope you're doing well, etc. Sometimes individuals call me and talk a little briefly, or they send a letter or a text. And when I haven't heard them in a little while, I mention their name or say something about them, because it's very important that them know that you ain't forgot about them. You know that they exist. And many other people I would say that to as well as we go along in this year. Now, Biblical Arts Revealed 2016 to 2043. Genesis 16:11. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, this is talking about Hagar now. This is in the area where Abraham is going to get, how does mythology go? Okay, how the mythology go, Sarah is going to give her handmaid Hagar, Egyptian, to Abram to have a child. Because as the story goes now, Sarah can't have kids because she's about 90 years old, etc. That is Peshed. Nothing to do with a woman having a baby in that way, or two women having two different kids. Nothing to do with that. And that's the story have been told to you, and we're going to show you the arts and how you can understand it the right way, so you can know the Peshed, the Ramus, the Drush, and the layers of the secret, the Sod. You need to know these things, people. I don't care what you have learned in the past and they told you the story, that was for the past. That is not going into this paradigm shift. Going to this paradigm shift is truthism. You was in the age back there of deception. Now you in an age of Aquarius that deal with truthism, righteousness, peace, and all this other stuff. And that's where you need to go. You need the truth, my people. You need to know the truth. And the angel of the Lord said unto Hagar, her, behold, thou art. Now I want you to notice this word. Thou art with child. Thou art with child. Now what is he saying? Thou art is with child. It means that in this particular person, whoever this person is, or whoever this organization is, or whoever this is talking about as being Hagar, they're going to have a child, or going to have a priesthood, or going to have a person with the arts, going to have them knowing the arts. The arts going to be with that person or with that priesthood. It's going beyond just a person. It go in that priesthood, in that knowledge. Okay? And you got to see that. Is the arts. Okay? And thou and thou shalt bear a son. A son, we normally see this literally, a son basically being a boy child. But this son here is bigger than that. This son is bigger than that. This son is a light. Is a light. It's about a light as well. Although it's talking about this person is going to come, but yet it's more than just him. It's the light that he carried is going to come. And that light going to be in other individuals other than him. He's just one of the ones that are going to be that main figurehead in that light. But that light is going to disperse itself upon the earth. That people of all different cultures are going to start being enlightened in what we call the source. You got different individuals all over this planet is connected with the source. That particular person happened to be one of those anointed spirits, one of those bloodlines that's supposed to come at this particular time of human history. So the other lights cannot teach outside the area of what that light is teaching, because that is the true light. And we got to know that. And the other individuals who's connected to that light or connected to the source will agree in that light. And we have to see that in that knowledge of that light. And we have to see that because we get into a different level of the sod. And we can't just literally read this stuff and say, well, that's what it is. Hagar was a woman that was a handmaid to Sarah. And after she had that baby and Abraham came into her and she had that baby, then she got beside herself and all that other stuff. They try to play down Hagar to build up Sarah. Okay, that's like playing down the black church to build up Christianity. Oh, it's the same thing, my people. It's the same thing. It's a level of the sod. Playing down Hebrewism and saying that Hebrewism is in favor of Christianity and not the black church. Do whatever you want to do to us, Sarah. You know, and that stuff there. Come on. No. No, don't come here and bring that garbage in here. Okay? Because that's told in Peshed, and it's a writing that's not literal, but it's read as a literal writing, and you miss out on the truthisms. You miss out on truthism because the timing is very important. Always remember the timing. When you know the timing, you know the arts, and you know where this stuff fit in with humanity. Then you know who it is, what it's all about. And it's very important. The arts is very important. See, when you have the ability to master the arts, and God have given that to you, then they could come any kind of way they want to come, and you just beat that junk down because you know better. And that's how it is. So you don't sit there and go, oh, so-and-so, well, it's all right. They don't believe what they want to believe. Yes, you have the truth to believe what you want to believe. But you believe that garbage in this age right now, keep on running with that garbage, you get nowhere. Okay? Leave garbage where garbage belongs, in the garbage. Okay? Time out for that. We moving on. That's like taking old food, and you take that old food, you say, well, I'm gonna warm that old food up. You know, I got a little burger here, and some of them burgers last for 2 months without spoiling. There's something wrong with it. You get a burger and it lasts 2 months without spoiling, people, you better just don't even look. Close your eyes, put it in the garbage, get rid of it. Okay, get rid of it. Okay, and I'm just showing you a way of seeing things. Don't believe everything everybody say. Test stuff. Find out. When you're part of this organization, we always say, check me. Prove me wrong. That's what it's about. And I'm going to try to have a little joy in these lectures this next year. And I'm not going to come pounding. I'm not going to come black, white, and all this other stuff this year. I'm going to deal with things like it is. You know, this society know what they owe us, and this nation, this metric know what is owed to us. And that's where we're going to go. We're going to go a little bigger than just saying the white man undid this and the white man undid that and all that. We're going a little bigger than that. We're going a little bigger than that. We're going to deal with it from the metric. We're going to deal with it from the source. And we're going to start seeing what God wants to say, what God say about this, and not deal with humanity rhetoric. We got to get out of humanity rhetoric and begin to see more. See, if you're going to get mad, you get mad, and you get mad not with and angry. You get angry with not weapons. You get angry that you want your knowledge to be better. You know, I heard the guy, Tupac said that about, oh, don't get angry, and go pick up weapons. Get angry that you want to pick up that knowledge to know more about yourself and take this thing to another level. You know, that's what you need. You need to know that. You need to get that knowledge to go to this other level. And that's what the art's about. That's what the biblical arts being revealed is all about, okay? And Genesis, let's go with Genesis. Let's go and cover Genesis again. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, behold, thou art with child, and thou shalt bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel, or Ishmael. If you read the word Emmanuel, you're going to see it's basically the same thing, but Ishmael, let's deal with Ishmael, okay? Ishmael, okay? That is a code name. That's the arts. Ishmael, if you go back and study about the Merovingian bloodline, you'll know that this Ishmael is about that same thing, the Merovingian bloodline. And what name came out of the Merovingian bloodline is Louis, or what they call in the French, Louis, L-O-U-I-S. But in the English and in King James Version Bible that he gave to the Americans, it is L-E-W-I-S, the English, L-E-W-I-S. And how do you see this? L-E, you see L-E there, L-E. The M, turn it upside down, get your W, and you got your I and your S. And that's why you see that. It's called Hebrew typology. They don't want you to know this, and they took Hebrew typology off the scene over 1,800 years ago because it revealed too much truthism. So they started knowing truth. There ain't no way Constantine them could keep all this stuff going, and the ones before him keep all of them lies going when the truth is there, okay? And the way to find the truth is there. And it's very important to know that. Now, I'm going to talk about Hagar, I'm going to talk about Sarah, I'm going to talk about Abel. So you can look back at this film later during the time when you're studying the various videos that we have on there, and you can understand that Hagar represents the black church. Why do I say Hagar is the black church, okay? The Bible was sent to America, okay? You had what you call Hebrew Israelites living here. Columbus wanted to say they was Indian because he was, as a story goes, trying to find a route to India. But a lot of the explorers that came here, and even William Penn, where they named Pennsylvania, and other peoples that came here knew that they were looking at some people that looked like Africans here. Some of them with straight hair, some of them with woolly hair. And they realized, and they wrote it in their journal and stuff like this. So this ain't nothing I'm just saying. It's something that's already written and recorded, okay? But you're not going to hear this in your public school system because they don't want you to see that part. They don't want you to see that the Eurocentric came over and dominate the Americans, and they began to take, just like they did Australia, part of Africa, they began to take these people's land in this knowledge of manifest destiny, okay? In this knowledge where the Catholic Church like to use it, discovery, something about doctrine of discovery. So you're going to hear this. Nothing is wrong with that particular doctrine. Nothing is wrong with that particular manifest destiny. But when you take something, you take a tool and you use it for bad and good and not just good, then there's a problem. Okay, that's where the problem lies. When you use it for bad and good. And that's what the Eurocentric Americans did and moved to America. They end up using it for bad and good. And you can't do that. Because when you use it for bad and good, there's a race of people that you're supposed to be sharing it with, like the prodigal son story, the older brother and the younger brother. And you're supposed to be sharing it and building it up together. And the European decide that, no, we're going to do that. We're going to take it for ourselves. And we're going to do that from there. And this is not knocking all Eurocentric people, especially the ones today, because this happened way years ago. And we got the activity of it is happening in the racism that exists in this nation. And most people don't know where all this stemmed from. They think everybody just hated each other and everybody ain't like each other. It never was like that. In the 1600s, when you had Nathan Bacon and stuff like that, you had black folks and white folks getting together. You had the ones that they call the master, the aristocrats, the rich ones, They didn't like that because they can't make money off the backs of black folks and neither white folks. So they had to make a twist in that. And that's when you hear the term where they brought the peoples in and say, now we are white people. That's an old German term that did not mean white skin color. It means that these peoples in the Mediterranean area, they was classified from one of these German scholars as white people because of their beauty. So they use that same terminology in America, and that's where you get this ideology of white people, okay? And they didn't call black people black, they called them Negroes, etc., etc. But they didn't call them black like we call it. The black is something that later on during the King time, Stokely Carmichael, where they brought this black stuff in. Okay, so that black stuff don't go that far back. They was known as Negroes, or they were known as Aborigines of this nation, but and from the islands, etc. And some of them were known to come from Africa. The amount I don't know, but it wasn't like what they said it was. A lot of individuals here was put into servitude, and as time went on, into slavery. They was from here. Their bloodline was from here. And that's why you see the story about Hagar, the Egyptian. That means the American, the original from this nation. Why do we say the Egyptian and American? Because America have in biblical prophecy, in the Bible, have began in mythology, took on the Egyptian way of being, in the Egyptian way. They have took on the manifest destiny. That's something that the Egyptian used to construct their civilization, etc. So Americans became civilization builders in the ideology of the manifest destiny, which come from the doctrine of discovery, which come from the Ankh, which is a part of the cross philosophy. And this stuff is beautiful, but you can only know it if you understand the arts. And you can work it right back there, and you'll see the cross philosophy. You'll see the voice of God in Genesis, and you'll see that and understand that, and you know the arts, that's the cross philosophy. So when you hear Jesus say that term, and you hear the initiate say, Jesus say, if any man fall after anyone fall after me, he said any man. If anyone fall after me, let him first deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me daily. Okay, that's the arts. And you will not know what that means unless you know the arts. You can't go by what Christianity have told you, is everything is about the blood. Yeah, the bloodline, not the blood that they made up. It's about the bloodline. Okay, you got to know about the bloodline, because the bloodline is tied in with the source. And that's what you got to see. So they tied themselves a Eurocentric man and created him as God, the Almighty, when all of us are gods now. We cannot overlook that. No one said he could not have been a God. But if you created him from nothing, then he couldn't be nothing but what he was, nothing. But they blowed him up, and they made this ideology, this image, which comes from Serapis. They made him Jesus, and today Christianity calling him their God. And we got to understand that. Now, I don't want to do all that. I want to go on with this one so you know what is Hagar. I'm going to tell you what it is so you could begin to let it simmer in your mind and begin to understand what's really going. Let thoughts be in your mind so you can eventually learn and study in the area of Hagar, Sarah, and Abel what it's really mean. In here, Hagar is the black church. Okay, I don't like to use black church, but I'm saying that so I could get this over to you. It's the Negro church, Negro religious organization, okay? Organizations all combined, okay? Now, why is the black church Hagar? Because the blacks are the Native American originally from America, what we call modern day Egypt. So Hagar is one of those, or Hagar is that energy, that birthright bloodline that's here in America that is displayed as Hagar. It's a bloodline among this black church that is the original bloodline of the individual who connected to the God, which have made this bloodline the bloodline that have the power to rule the world. That's why they don't want this to be known. The bloodline is the royal bloodline. And that bloodline, God have given the ability for the world to come back and the world to be governed through that bloodline, through time. Okay? Through time. And this is what you have to understand. These things that they don't want you to know and not telling you and not revealing to you, these things have to be understood at this particular time of human history. At this time in human history, you need to know that. Who is Sarah? Sarah is Christianity. Why is Sarah Christianity? Sarah is Christianity because the Christians came and took over America, controlled America, and Hagar was what they call a handmaid to Sarah, meaning she came under Christianity. She was subject to Christianity, to this Christian nation, and that's where she became who she was, a black church under the Christian movement, which is Sarah, okay? Serving Sarah, serving under Christianity, okay? Now, but we got to understand who is Abel, who is Abraham, who that Sarah was married to, and Abel came unto Hagar and brought forth this son, brought forth this light. We got to see it now. Abraham is the ancient Egyptian mystery system under Melchizedek, who is thought. Okay? Because this country is modeling itself after ancient Egypt over there, and it's taking on the ideology of thought and the mystery system that thought have sought forth, because thought had that system here in America. That's where they talk about Atlantis being over here. They had that system over here, and thought took that system over to Egypt, but that wasn't the first time that system been over here when thought took it to Egypt the last time, this time that's passed. This thought, this system is a system that have been all over the world, even in Asia. See, the lights have to come. Sometimes we call them different names. We call him Buddha. We call him Krishna. We call them different names, but it's the same energy. It's the Christ energy. And it comes in different parts of the world. And you be saying, well, why can't I believe in this? I'm a Christian, I believe in this. So I don't believe in no Buddha. I don't believe in that. Yeah, nobody asking you to believe in any of that. Just believe in the source. And let the source tell you what's really going on. That's what it is all about. It ain't about no Jesus. Jesus is, I could just tell you, Jesus is about Lewis. I stand in that avenue of Jesus right now because I'm a messenger. Am I the only one standing in that light? No, I'm not the only one standing in that light. But I'll tell you one thing that I do know. If they're teaching in opposition to what I'm teaching, then you better question that other light out there that claim is walking in that light as well. Okay? Because when God tell you about Hagar and that son that's coming with the ox, whoever that other light is, who claim to be that other light and claim to be a major part of that light, they must know the ox, people. This is your checks and balances. Check them. They say they there, and the scripture tell you that it's about the ox, have them knowing this art, having this art, and if they come and can't work, no ox can't do this, and all they talk about is who brought them, or they came, and all that. No. See, you got to believe in this, and you got to master this, and you got to understand this. This is what thought brought me. He didn't bring me them other books. He brought me this book, and he quite literally showed me that everything in this book is not correct. Okay, he let me know that. And he let me know that a truthism is in this book that we need to be able to bring people whole. It's in here, my people. And this book is not only what's in this book, the original book that he showed me was thicker than this book, the one that he carried. It's thicker than this book. And this book is about this dimension of time that we're going in. Not every dimension of time. It's this dimension of time. And this book come from the knowledge of the clouds, which is known as the Akashic records. These are the things I've been shown. And this is why I act like I do. You got to be able to open the Akashic records. And this is why I act like I do. And this is it. And when you open the Akashic records, I don't learn everything about inside the Akashic records. I learn about the biblical stuff that go along with the book that God want me to teach. Okay? It's like Tesla. Tesla tapped into the Akashic record a certain way, and he was a heck of a scientist. Tesla understood he had invented an instrument, a thing that if you turn it up, vibration, the darn thing will cause a building to fall down, steel building to fall down. Or you build a tower where if you go 30 miles, 20 miles outside there and hold the light up on a rod, the light will be automatically on without cables, etc. It took Tesla to give up the lights in our house right now, in all of our houses. Tesla built a generator that could give that light for us. Okay? A lot of people don't talk about Tesla. A lot of them don't talk about Tesla. Tesla was a heck of an invention. Tesla also was building a time traveling machine, and this man was really tapping into that Akashic record in his field. Okay, so I don't want to talk too much on it, but just read about Tesla, Nikola Tesla, and you'll see a lot about it. Okay, now, okay, Sarah is Christianity. Okay, Christianity came to America. Okay, through and then. The Hagar became, the black church became connected to Christianity because of the book. And Abraham is more what we call the Old Testament, okay? The Old Testament that deal more with the Egyptian mystery system. The New Testament is not about the Egyptian mystery system, but very, very little. It's sprinkled in, but very little. But the Old Testament is full of that Egyptian mystery system. That's why the Jews always say the Christians got their book and they just took their book and tapped it, put it onto our book and claimed that they was us and we was them. And the Jews say, no, that's not our belief. Jews don't believe in that Jesus character. They believe in a messenger is to come, but not that one that they talking about. They don't believe in that. Okay, and you get mad at them because you're a Christian. Well, them Jews, they killed Jesus and all that stuff. You just talk about the Jews. Y'all beat on the Jews so bad. And them Jews are really just white folks who claim to be Jews, who are Khazars and all this other stuff. And just study the history of it. Just don't beat on people until you start learning what their peoples are really all about. Not what they say they're about. Read what they really all about. That's not even talking about the Bible. Don't go talking about what the Bible say. Read what the Bible really all about. And then study what it's really all about. Then you come forth. Because it's time to bring truthism. Now, understanding Abraham is dealing with that Egyptian mystery system. Why do I say that? Because the Bible is connected with the Satarian. And when did this Christianity first came? It didn't come up out of Europe. It came out of the area of Alexander, Egypt. Okay, and we need to know this stuff. It's very important to know this stuff. Okay, and know how Serapis came on the scene through Ptolemy the First, and that Greek Empire being able to take over Egypt and became Greek pharaohs and etc. Okay, you need to know all that stuff. It's very important to know how it came from at that time and came back into our time. There's many prophecies in the Old Testament about that. That 2,300 days that you hear Daniel talking about is 2,300 years. It talk about the death from the death of Ptolemy the First until about 2017, which fulfill another prophecy as well. So these prophecies is there. Everything you need to know is there, but you got to know how to work the arts, my people. It's very important to know how to work the arts, and that's why these videos are left on here, so you can understand how to work the arts, okay? Now, the next thing to talk about, okay, you got Hagar, Sarah, Abram, and the affliction. Okay, in that area, talk about the affliction. In 15 chapter, it talk about the affliction. What I'm going to do over here, I'm going to give a revelation over there where it's deal with the affliction and how that revelation fit our particular time. That way you'll know with the arts, when you know how to number the stars, and you know how to use the sacred geometry, and you know how to use the golden ratio in there, it brings you right to events that happened at our time to verify that these peoples that went through this 400 years that King James sent this Bible over to their land, these peoples are the ones that are talked about in the Old Testament. They are the true Hebrews. They are the one is to see Israel face to face. And you have to see this stuff. It's very, very important to know all this stuff. And it'll get you where you need to get to. Oh, before we go any further, I'm going to read this, then I'll call the names. The affliction, you got to see that the affliction was 400 years, which is 360 days a year, not 365.25. As they always say, you hear some of them saying a while back, a couple years ago, 1619, they found out the buzz of 1619, because we talk about 1619 for about 5 years now. So I guess somebody heard that part and started tying it into 1619 and not when all those, as they say, all those slaves came from different parts over to America, North America, South America, all the way back to the 1500s. That was not about that. That was about a nation, not nations. And it was dealing about a particular period of time, a law that was going to be passed at that time. And that happened during the time of the Assembly in America in 1619. It actually happened August the 1st, 1619. And then you got 400 years from that, which is 360 days a year, take you to October the 3rd of 2013. Now you got to understand that the other part of the prophecy deal with 430 years. The 430 years is from is going to take you to you'll see the 430 years. That's 1619 to 2013 plus the 30 take you to 2043. It is important to know that. You can only know this kind of stuff if you have some understanding of the arts. Okay, Genesis 17:7, and I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in their generations, not generation, for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto them, to thee, and to thy seed after them. Now see, there's a covenant was made with God, with Hagar, Sarah, and Abel, which is the black church, Christianity, and the Egyptian mystery system. See, in this covenant, you got to understand that God wants certain things to be done in some kind of way. The black church, Christianity, and the ancient Egyptian mystery system, which a lot of the fraternities are thriving with that, and the ancient mystery system of the doctrine of discovery, which come from the voice of God, as the scriptures say, this stuff is need to be understood now. It's the time to know, and we got to learn how to work together on this, okay? When they say Hagar was acting a certain way, no, Hagar wasn't acting a certain way like they wanted to portray it. There was an event happening just like the event, as the story goes, when they said, the Lord said unto Noah, man have became wicked. No, had nothing to do with that. There's a time that this black church or these peoples of color have to rise up, and Christianity cannot stand in the way, understanding the law of discovery, understanding the manifest destiny, when these people want to take on the manifest destiny, which these people want to hear the voice of God. Oh boy, this is a great time, my people. Black folks, wake the heck up. Peoples of color, wake the heck up. Don't blame nobody for what's going on right now. For the past, you do all you want. But right now, it's your day, your time. You need to take on the manifest destiny, because it is the 5 laws of God. This is what this book is saying. From a people that come from nowhere, a chosen people that come from nowhere, to a people that come and stand on the throne of God on earth. That's where you moving to, and we letting all the other things get in our way. All the other things get in our way. Oh, the white man, he won't let me nothing at the bank. He let his people and stuff. They go play golf together, and they give them stuff, and they don't give me the heck with that. Okay? That's gonna keep on going if you keep worrying about it. Where your Wall Street, where your golf place at, where your people's at, your community that you're building, your contractors, your people's got jobs building it, making the pulpwood, building these things. Where's your farm where you can eat properly? Where is your banking system that you put your money in the bank? Because it say you have over close to $2 trillion a year. Where your money at? Why are you letting these people take your money and building their manifest destiny, and you ain't taking it building your own? This is what time it is. This is what time it is now. See, you ain't hearing this in the black church or the white church. White church ain't tell you no way. You ain't hearing this in the black church because you got to understand that it's time for the sun to come. And that sun and those peoples connected to that sun and have that energy of the source, which is God the Almighty, in their presence. Those are the ones that they call Judah. Judah must rise in the Bible. In the Bible. It's time to be yourself, my people. It's time for the leaders in America to wake the hell up. The black ones are the peoples of color and do their job. Don't come tell me, oh, I went over there in Africa and I got some, I made a school for these, my black peoples and da. Africa is your people, but you got to get it right at home first. Okay? Don't tell me what you did way there, way there. That's like a man or a woman. Oh, man, you know, kids say, well, Dad, I need about $50. Oh, I went and I lend your uncle, cousin, $100. What? Take your home first. Take your home first. You got to take care of the peoples here in America. This is what where God put you at. Take care of home first. Okay? We got to learn to take care of home first. Don't tell me what you're doing way over there and way over there and talking about that's what God wants to do. That's what the Eurocentric man done organized himself to do. And he know first you got to take care of home first, but then he'll encourage you to follow him and do stuff because he's focused on his manifest destiny and you don't know no better. You don't know nothing about the 5 divine laws of God. You know nothing about the manifest destiny that you're supposed to be walking in. And he got you going way out there in La La Land. He got you putting all your money in his banks and got you following his investment firms. And you think you're doing what it is and you ain't doing nothing but stacking paper. And you ain't building nothing worthwhile when it comes to your purpose here on this earth. Come on, my people. Come on, my people. We got to wake up. Ain't no time for the foolishness. And I said I wasn't going to holler. So I'm not going to get into too deep into that, but I'm telling you something. We got to wake up. We got to wake up now. We got to understand this book. We got to understand these arts because it's in the Bible. I'm not telling you nothing in the Bible. Go read the scripture. The word is there, plain as day. Tell me what it means. And it's in other parts of the Bible as well. Tell me what it means. If you think you know more about it than what I know. And I've been chosen for this particular hour, this particular time, this particular ministry. Man didn't choose me. God chose me. And that's why I am. Some people say, well, God chose me too. Why you so much to be there? God, study the Bible. Prove me that I'm not there. Come on out. Come out your little cages and the ones that got their little thing and prove me wrong. That I'm not there. I want you to do that. Go in your prayer room and talk to God and prove me that I'm not there. If you're really talking to God, prove me wrong. You may go there and learn something. God may teach you something. So we got to see this. Now, let's deal with these names, okay? Demetrius Chain, okay, Meshach Williams, Antoinette McMullen, Wanda Priestess, Philip Davis, and Leon James. Now I just put these few names because I want you to do something. I want y'all to do something. One thing I want you to do is I want you to have people to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to this channel. But what I want you to do is that most of these people right here are newer individuals. Some of them, but they're newer from the beginning, I would say like this. They are newer individuals. And I want to get newer peoples here. I want to get newer peoples here. That's why I love this out. I want you to participate in what we're doing. Send your donations in and help build this. Make sure you make a commitment or try to make a commitment and say, I'm going to help. I'm going to help build this organization. I'm going to do what little bit I can financially to help build this organization. I'm going to help build this organization where I could ask them different things and how could I get involved, and they find out what my skills are and what could I do and how in the near future I could participate. All this stuff is necessary now. This is a new time now. This year here is a spark year. Yeah, I don't want it to be just Minister Armstrong, Minister Corinthia, Minister Coleman. I want you all to step forth and do things. You already got Brother Devin on the Nephite organization. You also got Brother Richard, the one that do the music. He out here. He out here and he got a channel on. Brother Richard made me smile the other day. He take the knowledge and he take it and got, thank you. I guess he don't mind me telling him to tell it anyway. So you don't want me to tell something, don't tell me. Okay, I'm going to say it like that. He did something on TikTok, okay? And he put so many minutes on TikTok dealing with the teaching of the organization. Now, they got the algorithm on me bad, but that brother sneaked right on in there through there and he taught that lesson. And I think he told me that he had over 1 million viewers. Now, listen to this, 1 million viewers within, I don't want to exaggerate. I believe within a month's time. 1 million viewers on that one thing within a month's time coming from the same knowledge. That tell you what time it is. They don't want you to know it. We got to sneak stuff in so you can understand it because they don't want you to know it. So we have to go various avenues to get to the people so they can see it. And I'm telling you, this is hot stuff here. When this thing really get to going this year, next year, the next year, and the next year, how it's gonna go, this thing gonna be known, my people. This is real here. This is no joke. This stuff is real. This is biblical. And we in this zeitgeist of time. So it has to be revealed. That's why you see me say biblical arts revealed. 2016 to 2043. And 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, all the way to 26 is what they call the zeitgeist time. There's not only things dealing with this organization, you got some things going to happen in this world, in this nation, that's going to tax it on to that little COVID stuff and going to be, whoa. But then you're going to have the dreadful part and you're going to have the great part. And in the great part, we're trying to tell you about the great part, or your deliverance, how God's going to bring you out of certain things. So don't think no COVID finna hurt you and all this other nonsense. Do the right things. Eat right. Take the herbs and do that. And make sure you keep that alkaline up high. And do, we ain't tell you don't follow what your doctor say. Follow what your doctor say and whatever you need to do. And keep yourself right. And pray. God's going to take care of people. He'll bring you through these different things. So that's what you got to look at. Now, Genesis 17, 18 through 19. And Abraham said unto God, O thought, Ishmael may live before thee. Okay. Now, you got to always remember, I ain't trying to take away from what the story say, but this is not a story about a man and this child. It's about a bloodline. Now, it is about a bloodline. But this bloodline and this knowledge, these characters, they are not just people, okay? They're not just peoples, okay? You wouldn't call Christianity a person. No, it's Sarah. You wouldn't call the Church of Color, which is different from others. You go to a Pentecostal church or Baptist church, you see them praising the Lord and doing things. You go into that white church down that road, there ain't none of that happening, okay? It ain't the same, okay? And a lot of people think, now you got some white churches are more Pentecostal, and then you see some of that. But no, you go to some of them Pentecostal church and you see some of them sisters cut across that floor and let that energy work with them, and they be shouting and I go, leave them alone. I like it. they be getting their spirit free. Even if it ain't for that little period of time, they opening up. They trying to be, you know. And all that stuff come from our ancestors many, many, many years and hundreds and years, thousands of years ago. You know, and stuff like that. And you got to see that. And people say, well, that's African. That's that African part. You know, yeah. But you got to know that Egypt is in Africa, okay? And so you got to know that. And just what been in Africa, been in America too. You got pyramids in America, just like you got pyramids over in Africa. So we have to understand that. That knowledge was universal at a period of time. And we have to see that. People may think, well, the English ruled this and no. Do you know some black folks used to rule England? I'm going to say this again. Do you know some black folks used to rule England for a period of time and back in the day? And even in our time, during the time of King James. Listen to this, study about King James. You had the Druids and stuff like that, and later in certain areas, Spain and stuff, you had the Moors and all that. Black people done rule all over this place. And they don't tell you all that. They try to keep all that stuff hidden from you. If you go into higher learning in college, they may release some, but when it comes to your high school and your other school, they don't want you to know those truths, because they don't want you to know black folks been some most powerful peoples in the world. The richest man in the world we know of was a black man. Okay? So when you're talking about wealth and all that, but you don't take away from your white brothers. So that's where they come from you. So if you take away from them, you're going to take away from yourself. But you know how to put them in line where they need to be, because someone need to be put in their proper place, and know that if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't even exist. Okay? But all of us are gods. So we have to be able to do that. And if you start doing that and quit calling people white, and quit calling people black, you get rid of that stuff, then you clean up at least 35 to 40% of some of this nonsense. Okay, now, Genesis 17:18. And Abraham said unto God, O thought, Ishmael might live before thee. And God said to Sarah, now it's Sarah, which is Christianity, but we'll just leave it as you know it, and we'll just read this right now. Okay. And God said unto Sarah, thy wife shall bear, they'll say to Abraham about Sarah, thy wife shall bear a son. I want you to see this now, a son indeed. Indeed. See, this is the catch there. Most people think indeed, and they put it together. Indeed. Oh, indeed, you're going to be able to do this. Indeed. It ain't. It's indeed. Deed, what is deed? Deed is like when you get your house and you got land, you got a deed to it. Or you get your title to your car, you got a deed to it. Okay? That's what that deed means. And it's saying indeed. Why is this indeed? Why is Sarah having this child indeed? Because Sarah is Christianity is a power structure of America, of this modern day Egypt, okay? Along with the mystery system, along with the Masonic order, Freemason, Knight Templar, Rosicrucian, all in one, and them families at that top order, and that aristocrat environment that's at that top order, that Abrahamic environment, okay? You got to understand that. And the Hagar effect is playing underneath Sarah, because every black church in America, if they want to extend themselves as a church and be powerful, they have to do what? They have to connect themselves to what? Egypt, modern day Egypt government, which ran by the Abrahamic organizations, okay? And they got to be able to be tied in, black church in time past, tied into Christianity, okay? Now you got some, they say they're Muslims, and you got some that's Buddhists and all that. But this Bible, when it was sent here, was about the Christian blacks and the Christian whites, and about the Old Testament, the Abrahamic thing, the Old Testament. Christianity comes with its New Testament, the Abrahamic thing with the Old Testament, and then they married them together, Old and New Testament, and that's where we got now our Holy Bible, the Old and New Testament. Okay, and we got the black church or the peoples of color, the original from here, came into Christianity, and they became their servants under Christianity. And that's why you got Hagar as a handmaid, the original peoples from this nation, a handmaid to Sarah. Okay, now that's important to know. Now let's go a little further. Okay, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. Now, Isaac. I want you to see this Isaac, because they could throw you off if you don't know your Bible and you don't know the arch. So you see Isaac, okay? Isaac, Isaac ain't Ishmael. Isaac is totally different. So what is Isaac? Isaac ain't no totally different. Isaac is the one who birthed. It's showing you a bloodline. Isaac is the bloodline, is in the bloodline of Abraham. Isaac, which is in the bloodline of the arts, in coming from that direction of the mystery system of Egypt. Isaac gotten Jacob. Okay, now notice who Jacob is. Jacob is Israel. Okay, now Israel is how they went in a roundabout way to bring you Lewis, which is Israel, which is Ishmael, which is known in Isaiah, they call, you got Ishmael and you got Emmanuel. It's all the same. But they went and took it that way, and you pushed it, as they say, literally read it without the allegory, the drush, and with the saw. So they got you hooked, and now you go into church believing a lie, which you ain't intentionally sought yourself up like that. They sought you up like that because they didn't want you to understand how to deliver yourself. They didn't want you to understand how to get yourself free from you. They wanted you to be the prodigal son type person to them, as long as they could get you like that. Because think about the prodigal son. It was his brother, and his brother had him in that terrible condition. Okay? Christianity is a brother to the black church, and Christianity, Eurocentric Christianity, got the black church in that terrible condition where in their life they don't own their proper amount of financial institution. They don't own their proper amount of territory which they once owned here in America. They don't own their proper amount of political clout in this nation. They don't own their proper amount of farming and fairness in the farming in this nation. They don't dictate and own the proper amount of how they run their own community. This is the Bible, my people. This is the Bible. And I know some people don't want to hear because they don't want to learn. They don't want to learn nothing that's different and new and real. They want to stay in the dark age. They want to stay in that age. And I don't tell you, you got to get out of that. If that's what you want, stay with it. But God, peoples of light, ain't going to follow that. The way that we're going, it can't follow that. It can't deal with that. And we have to see that. Okay, now let's deal with it. Okay. And I will establish my covenant with him. Okay, with him, which is what? The covenant is dealing with Israel, and it's talking about our day. So it's talking about that particular person that is to come, that light, that Hagar, that the black church is going to manifest. It's going to manifest through that bloodline within the black church environment, and it's going to come forth. That Abraham bloodline, of that Egyptian mystery system bloodline, of that Pharaoh bloodline is in here in America. It's in America, my people. And that Pharaoh bloodline must come forth at this time of human history. So the new pharaohs and the pharaohs that is to come, and the men and women who have ruled along with the pharaohs in that energy time past, which is coming at our time, they don't want it to be resurrected. It's about the pharaohs now, my people. It's time for the true pharaohs to come back into existence. And they have, through Ptolemy, stepped in the seat and the power of the pharaohs and have deceived you for over 2,300 plus years. And you don't even know it. And you got to learn this stuff. People ask me something, how do you know all this stuff? I have a spiritual guide. Thought it's my spiritual guide. Okay? I was born to be who I was. So when I start walking in the knowledge of God and in the presence of God, then those truth-isms of who I really am, connected to the source, a light of the source, it started resonating, coming up in me. It could come up in me freely as it will because I have opened up to it. And that's what we have to see. Okay, let's go on. Okay. God had made a covenant. And I have established my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant and with his seed. His seed. Now this seed is more than just his bloodline. It's more than just his children. This seed is people who following him. People who following him. Because they are growing. They are touching his spark. And through touching his spark, the source is touching their life. And the source is going to bring forth those individuals to that point where they're going to become who they are. They're going to become different people. Some of them are going to become aristocrats in this environment. Some of them are going to become patriots in this environment. Some are going to carry certain different hats and titles. Right among you. Some that been seen as nobody when it comes to the world scene. So you can have money and you still ain't got no title. But you're going to see people are going to have a title. You're going to see people with titles in the black environment, in the peoples of color environment. They're going to have titles. Just like you have titles over in England. They are royals, they are dukes, they are lords. But black folks are going to carry those same type of titles. They're going to have the same type of titles because they're going to prove themselves to be who they are. You're finna have some black folks that rise up right now, people, that boom. You know, you got Warren Buffett, but you're going to have some of them Warren Buffett Negroes finna rise up. And some of the other ones that's going to rise up. That they're going to have money now. Oh, they're going to be able to bring this thing together. They're going to be able to bring that black economy to where it need to be at. They're going to be able to organize black folks to the point where they need to be at. And we see that. Let's go on from there. I don't want to take too long on this lecture, but we're going to go on. You cannot give away your birthright. You couldn't give away if you wanted to, because it's already sought out. You cannot give away your birthright. Genesis 15:5. And he brought him forth abroad and said, look now toward heaven and tell the stars if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall thy seed be. Now this is the numbering of the stars, not looking up in the sky. Heaven have 37 different meanings. Heaven have 37 different meanings. You got 37 different ways to see heaven in that area. And this is one of the ways to see the high level of consciousness that you are to look. The high level of knowledge that you are to see. That's what the arts is about. It's a high level of knowledge that you are to use, that our ancestors in time past have used. There's nothing new under the sun, my people. And those individuals who wrote this Bible, compiled this Bible, they knew this. They knew this. You got to remember the initiates and the peoples that wrote the Bible and that had that knowledge that went in the Bible. They was individuals, what you call initiates. And they had the power to be able to look into the future and see our time and use some of our, what we call our language that we use at this time. And we wouldn't even never think that that word is in that Bible that's talking about the same word that we use at this particular time. And you'll see that because they could pierce into the future. It's like Nostradamus could. They were just as great as Nostradamus, some of them was greater. They could pierce into the future, people. They could see things. They could see our time right now. And you got to understand that. You could call them time travelers. You call them whatever. See, time travel ain't always people that get out and go to that particular area with their whole body, etc. Some people are known as time travelers who could project themselves into the future. And they can actually see the future. And they can write about the future. And you need to see that. It's very important to know that. Okay? Genesis 15:5, and he brought him forth abroad and said, look toward heaven and tell me. Now this is this question he asked. And tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. In other words, this ain't going to be an easy task. Numbering the stars, you ain't going to be, you got to be in that system. And he was talking to Abraham, and Abraham was part of the Egyptian mystery system. Why was Abraham a part of the Egyptian mystery system? Because Abraham followed Melchizedek. Melchizedek was the priest of the Most High God. And Abraham took his teaching, his knowledge and stuff out of the Egyptian literature and stuff like that, taught to him by, as they say, Melchizedek. And now this is why when you're taking it from the man and then you put it to what it is within us, although we are human beings within us, we have certain knowledge of America. Some of us come from other countries. Certain knowledge of that when it comes to our preference when they deal with the arts. Some of us have certain knowledge. Some have certain knowledge of the Freemasons. Some have certain knowledge of the bones and skulls. Some of them have certain knowledge of the shrines. Some of them have certain knowledge of the Rosicrucian, et cetera, and different fraternities. Certain knowledge. And this is how Abraham relationship with Melchizedek. He had certain knowledge, sacred knowledge that he learned. And one of those was in that teaching of Melchizedek is the understanding of the Egyptian mythology. In the Egyptian mythology, understanding the arts and understanding the numbering of the stars. And once you understand this, you know where these peoples are at. You know what time this is, because in this numbering of the stars, you will know that every 50 years or every 18,000 days, Jubilee, as they say, is the event that happened that deal with those peoples of color in this nation, and this nation ruling over those peoples of color. Now they want to spin that wheel again here, and God is not going to permit it to be so. This is why when you get in the story of Abraham interpreting King Nebuchadnezzar's dream, this is what it was about, this other spinning this other wheel. But you wouldn't know that unless you taught that particular type of knowledge. And it's very important to know how to number the stars. It's very important to know that. You have never heard this before in any church setting, this part right here. And this is what God is bringing to you, because he wants you to know that there's a son with the ox, a child with the ox, and shall bear a son. And that's where I'm coming in. That light, that energy, that you need to know that. And many others will be coming in that. But they can't come, if they're coming in that, they got to teach similar to what I'm teaching. They can't teach in contrary to what God is showing me. And we have to see that. Okay. Genesis 15:7-8. And he said unto him, I am the Lord thought. Now look at this, what it says. I am the Lord thought. You're going to see, I am the Lord that. T-H-A-T. It's T-H-O-T. And you know, on those words we got now, we put an H on there. If you talk about Allah, you're going to see an H on there. Many names, you're going to see an H on there. But you're going to see T-H-A-T when it's T-H-O-T. And you got to see that. Okay. I am the Lord thought, brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give thee this land to inherit it. And he said, Lord God, whereby shall I know thought? Whereby shall I know thought? I shall inherit it. In other words, whereby I know this thought, how I shall inherit it. And God is going to show him that over here, as we see Genesis 15:8-9, dealing with that. And you're going to know from this that event and this inheritance coming out of after this event that's going to happen, how God is going to show him. Genesis 15:8-9. And he said, Lord God, whereby shall I know thought? Whereby shall I know? Then he's going to say thought. I shall inherit it. Talking about the land. And he said, and not only the land, the come back of that bloodline, of that kingship that's supposed to be in their life, in his life, in his seed life. And he said unto him, take me a heifer of 3 years old. I want you to listen to this very carefully. And a she-goat of 3 years old. And a ram of 3 years old. And a turtle dove and a young pigeon. Sound like Noah time, don't it? Okay. And he took unto him all these, and divided, now notice that, divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another. Now there's a reason why he's going to lay each piece one against another. But the birds divided he not. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you what this is. This and the story in the book, which is in both of these books, but the first was in this book, on page 9 of this chapter about Joseph and the king's dream, and it's also in here, they give you that chart of those 21 years. This is the same thing. This is Hebrew typology. It's showing you the same story as you see about Joseph and the king's dream. It's showing you with Abraham and what it say Abraham was in a vision. Okay? And you got to see this. See, most people don't know that. It's called Hebrew typology. They don't know that these same stories play themselves over and over and over again in the Old Testament, and some of them carry over into the New Testament. You need to know that. Now, what is this all about? Now, this is about timing. Timing. Timing is crucially important. This is about timing. Timing of this bloodline coming back into its royalty. Time of is coming back. Remember the story of Joseph? Because the same as the story of Joseph. Joseph was a royal. God had shown Joseph dreams and stuff where he was going to be ruling over his brother and even his father. And Joseph, you know, just what got Joseph in that condition where they decided to sell him, etc. See, you essentially know why from this nation you're going to rise up and rule the whole world again. They know that. And that's the same thing. They know that. That's the same story they're telling you here, but you don't know that. Nobody told you that. Nobody taught you that. Nobody gave you the arts. They just say you're a chosen people and they leave it alone. It's deeper than that. It's much deeper than that. And you got to understand that. There's a bloodline that's in here. There's a bloodline that's among the black peoples of America, the African American peoples of that. And that bloodline is not just a pharaoh. That bloodline is everybody that participate in help building the pharaoh and help building the nation, that what it's supposed to be. That bloodline is a bloodline that walk in the manifest destiny. And they're walking in it because they're following the will of God. They're walking in the doctrine of discovery. And you got to see this, my people. They done hijack from you what you supposed to be doing, and they doing it just like the prodigal son, older brother did, and they don't want you to know who you are. And you kind of like know that you're chosen. You know that you're a particular people. The blood, they didn't care about you knowing that, but they didn't want you to work that control mechanism necessary to keep you on top. Okay. And that's what the prodigal son was about with his brother. He wanted him to do the thing to not keep him on top, not ever let him get back to where he was. All that the father had gave him. And you got to see this. Now, in this story, you see the heifer, you see it divided. So you got 3 years. They say the heifer is 3 years, and they're going to be divided. What the heifer represent? Wealth. Okay. You see the she-goat is divided, 3 years. What does she-goat represent? A lesser wealth. Okay. Now, you see the ram, 3 years, and the ram was divided. What the ram represent? A lesser wealth or economy than the she-goat and the heifer. Okay. Then the last 3 years, you see the other, you see a three, it don't tell you 3 years. It just tell you the turtle dove and the young pigeon, but it say it is not divided. Okay, it is not divided. And you got to notice though, see, once you already know the truth, I'm teaching you what it's saying, but already know what it's about. So you could have a little sense of humor with it and know that, man, this Bible is unique. This Bible is very, very, that's why I thought brought me the King James Bible. It didn't bring me the Torah alone. but without it being connected. He didn't bring me the Quran and stuff, but he did show me that that Bible was thicker, so it could have been some information for the Quran that could be added into that Bible, and information from the Torah could be added into that Bible, etc. I'm not saying that some of that stuff, but the main signature was on that Bible was Holy Bible, and the only Holy Bible that we got is that Protestant Bible there. So he brought Protestant Bible to me, which is the Egyptian literature and the Egyptian knowledge in there, because that story of Jesus, how they did it, they took that story from Horus. So it's the Egyptian literature, no matter how you essentially want to twist it. It's the Egyptian literature. It's the literature that been taught in America before Egypt became what it was, and we got to see that. Now these animals, when you cut them in half, you got 6 years. So you got 6 years, 6 years, 6 years. So where do they fit in American economy? They're about the time that's near the end of this film, Old World, as we call it, near the end of this old world of the Dark Age, going into the age from Pisces into the age of Aquarius. And this is what it's showing you, and this is what was shown to Abraham. So Abraham could know when this is going to happen, when this bloodline is going to come up, when all this stuff is going to happen. And when did we see? Look at the year 2000 to 2002 to 2005. It's cut in half now. You see 3 years, 3 years. Why is that important? Because at that time we had a surplus. America wasn't doing bad. America was doing good at the year 2000. After 2000, this is when all this stuff started happening. American economy began to fall. See, well, American economy went down for 21 years and did not come back up. People say, well, Donald Trump had got a job. No, when it comes to how much we owe and the deficit and stuff, we was down each year. We went down a little each year. We went from having a surplus under Bill Clinton, a surplus, to a deficit under Bush, okay, Obama, Trump, and Biden, okay, and Biden. All 4 presidents, okay. It's tied into this right here. It's tied into this right here. Biden came at 2021, and he's on this side of it, but he took on the stuff of 2022. I mean 2020. So you got to see that. Now, why is this? Because you're going to see these years going to happen. The reason he divided this and did it, the initiates did it the way they did it, because they know that in Hebrew typology, if you go back to the story of Joseph, you're going to see the calf, you'll see the cow, and you're going to see the corn. So in it, you're going to have this, you're going to deal with the economy, but in it, you're going to see it flip, because in the story of Joseph, in the Pharaoh dream, it's going to be about the cow, and it's going to be about the corn, which is economic and terrorist war and natural disasters. Economic, terrorist war, natural disasters. And that's how it went for the whole 21 years. And we got to understand that. This is real. This is about America, the event that happened in America. Why? Because in Abraham, or in Abel's story, it tells you about the 400 years. When did the 400 years end? The 400 years ended here. But if you look at our 365.25 days, when did the 400 years end? Right over in here, 2019, okay? But if you look from the arts, it's 2014. And you have to understand this stuff. So all this is right about the same thing, about everything is the same. You see 18 plus 3 is 21 years. You got to understand this. when we have more time, I'm going to talk about this more in depth. I'm going to bring the history that goes along with it. That way you can see, you can go yourself and study about American economy, how it was in the year 2000 and how it ended up in 2020. And you'll see what I'm saying. It went like this and it kept going down. Our deficit kept going up. Well, how much we owe? We just owe. And in 2020, meaning 20, we didn't know anything. We had a surplus. So you need to see this. This revelation is about the United States of America. No Jews or nobody before this went through any of this thing. And you can put the golden ratio with it to put the icing on the cake. That's how it is. Okay. Now, these are the events. These are the events that are. These are the events. These are the events that are to happen in America. That are to happen. These are the events D are to happen. These are the events that are to happen in America, and these events happen in America, and it's showing you, leading up to the understanding Abraham bloodline, understanding that bloodline in America that's supposed to rise, and you can't stop it, and no one can stop that because it's cut up, it's tied all up into the metric, it's tied all up in the destiny of the world, not just America, but the world, and we have to see that. Now, that's enough for the day with that lecture, and I hope I didn't confuse any of you all, and go and study so you can see this, so you can understand it for yourself, and you can have a great knowledge of it when you take your own time and you go look in it and you see that the economy went from 2000, from a surplus to 2020 in a big deficit where they owe each year. You see each year, study each year. Don't just study the whole thing, study each year. You see yourself. You can look at it and see these numbers going up, rising. More and more money we owe, more and more debt. And you can see that all the way through. Okay, and we have to understand this. Okay, we'd like you to make your donation to help us build this organization, and we always say at times, help us get our land. That means help us move into the people we need to be. Help us be able to establish places, and we need help to be able to do that. And we know God is there. We know at a certain time God is going to do tremendous things. But until that time, we need you to help put into this. This is a spark year, so we're looking for a lot more to happen. And you got to understand that when God has brought you amidst of an organization like this, and you sitting there with millions in your account, you're sitting there with hundreds of thousands in your account, and God want to move things, it's not good that you just sit there and don't have this organization, really, because this is more important. These are the most important things you can do in your life right now. Help back and push this organization, okay? Other than taking care of your family, immediate family, this is what you do, what you need to be doing. People say, well, I got to save for a rainy day. You save all you want for a rainy day, you may not be able to see that rainy day. So you need to do what you're supposed to do when God has given you opportunity to walk in the energy and see that this type of teaching exists. See, God will, this is not time now. It's COVID and everything else. You could be studying this organization, you can be a part of this organization, but you got to do what God wants you to do. You got to do your thing, my people. God is there for you now, but you got to be there for God and for God's people as well. It's not just like God is there for you, and then you don't think you're supposed to do no more and just be there or listen, except no. God wants participation. He wants you to learn and walk in the manifest destiny, and you got to see that. That's our responsibility now. We got to build this nation. We got to build a nation for God. Whether it's directly in this nation or whatever, we got to figure it out, and we got to do what we're supposed to do. First of all, we got to build ourselves as a nation of people, black and white, and stuff like that. And we got to do what it takes to do what it takes to do, okay? And we remember that. Okay, you can send your donation to Louis Armstrong Ministry, 7536 Jana Lane North, Jacksonville, Florida, 32210. That's Louis Armstrong Ministry at 7536 Jana Lane North, Jacksonville, Florida, 32210. Or Cross Rock Incorporated. You can use the same address at 7536 Jana Lane North, Jacksonville, Florida, 32210. Or you can go on your mobile app and GiveLify on your mobile app on the charitable, and you can send a donation there. That's how most of them is using GiveLify. Most of them is using that. Some of them are using PayPal, but most of them is using GiveLify on the mobile app on the charitable sending a donation. Okay, also PayPal at ArmstrongLewisJ at gmail.com. That's PayPal, ArmstrongLewisJ at gmail.com. And you can also send it at Cash App at the $ SWAU 1954. That's Cash App, the $ SWAU 1954. And Sister Corinthia have this on there so you can see it also. I thank you for being here, my people. I thank you for being here with me in this new year. And it's our time to resurrect our dead people so they can know that we have a job to do. We have the manifest destiny that we are embracing, not we embracing America in its manifest destiny. No. We only embracing America manifest destiny as it embraced our manifest destiny. Every race should take on the manifest destiny for themselves. And definitely, Black America, the peoples of color of America, that's how you could build a Wall Street. You can't build a Wall Street without that kind of knowledge and understanding, especially at this particular time of human history. You got everybody rising. You got China rising. You got other nations rising. You got Nigeria rising. You got other nations rising. And poor little America, Black America, with all this wealth around you. You're supposed to be leading the world of peoples of color and others. And you've been sitting back. And God wants you prodigal son, you America, you Black America, America of color, you Native Americans. He wants you to rise up now. This is your year. This is a zeitgeist, a time that you're supposed to be coming out of this condition. You ain't got time to sit there and be worried about this and that. God's gonna take care of his people. Don't be worried about, well, this gonna happen and then quit complaining and worry about this and that. Don't even be worried about your health. Get on your knees and tell God, now I want to work on, I want to do a work for you, so bless me. Whatever it is, whatever illness I got, God, give me the knowledge to overcome it and bless me. So I can walk through this and I can do your will. Okay? And we need that. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for permitting me to be here. Thank you for permitting the audience being here and being participating in this new year and years to come. People, we got to understand from the knowledge of God, thank you, God, for revealing this knowledge. There is no end of the world. Okay, I don't care what the science and their theory is. God have had this world going for many hundreds of thousands of millions of years, and he's going to have it going for many more hundreds of thousands of millions of years. And we got to begin to understand that our God, our source, is there for us. Please love God with all your heart and all your mind, and love your neighbors as thyself. Thank you. Amen.
Yo, it's a message from Thoth to Hody, Melchizedek, Armias Hermes, Mercury, Quetzalcoatl, Kulakan, who commands. We are telling them once, the rise of the children of Israel, Louis that is,